Hi, I'm Paul, and along with Matthew, we're making a diary of York in the time of the coronavirus pandemic. This weekend is the first weekend of the second nationwide lockdown. Restaurants, cafes, bars, and inessential shops are closed except for takeaway, in quite a few circumstances, and click and collect. Here in York, we've taken to the streets to talk to the general public who are out on the Saturday of this first weekend in a second nationwide lockdown.
What makes you come into town this afternoon?
Well, just having somewhere to go to.
How are you finding York this afternoon, central?
We're finding it really good because we've not been out because we've been in self-isolation for 2 weeks, and so it's sort of a relief a little bit, yeah.
Well, it looks like you guys are making the most of the lockdown. Can you tell us what's happening here?
It's Alex's 50th birthday, am I allowed to say that?
We just walked around the bar walls and the museum, the gardens are still open.
Are the walls open?
The walls
this
are open, we were
lockdown?
surprised. We didn't think it would be.
one-way system.
One-way system, which is good.
Yeah.
And the museum gardens are open. So yeah, it's
And
been
some nice
nice.
little coffee shops for
Yeah, you
takeaways.
can get a takeaway as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we had something to eat. We had some coffees. We noticed that quite a few places aren't open that were open in the previous lockdown. So I don't know whether that's going to carry on or, whether that's a shape of things to come or whether they're going to open up a bit later. But
Which ones are you thinking of?
so, for instance, when we got coffees, we would normally go to Brew and Brownie, and they were closed, and then there were a couple of other places that were closed as well.
How are you guys finding having a birthday picnic on the steps of the Minster during the lockdown?
Chilly. No, it's good. It's nice to be out and about. So obviously the celebrations have been somewhat pared back from what they would have been, but at least we can still get out and meet up with one other person. So.
Where do you plan to go today?
Just a general wander about, just where the mood takes us, I think.
There's a lot of shops offering things like takeaway coffees, takeaway food. Do you plan on using any of the shops today?
Well, we've just been in Thomas's and bought one or two things as we're passing. We might get a drink before we go, like you say, a coffee or something like that.
I noticed there's quite a few people getting like takeaway coffees and sort of takeaway food in some instances. Is that something that you might do today?
Because we're local, no. We'll just come in and walk out, go home.
And how are you finding the city centre this afternoon?
Well, it's nice and quiet.
How busy is the city today?
Not very. We were saying it reminds us a bit of Boxing Day. I think it's probably a bit busier than Boxing Day, but it's quiet.
Ridiculously busy. I came in on Thursday to send some parcels from the shop, and it was busy. It's busy again today. When I was coming in at the last lockdown, there wasn't anyone around. The roads were quiet. I couldn't come in and not see one person. But this is just like a quiet Sunday afternoon.
It's not too bad, it's not too crowded.
We've seen some tourists, but not too many. Like you say, it does seem to be mostly residents. It's nice just to have that bit of normality and come back to the city.
I would say it's not as quiet as the first lockdown. With some of the other things open that weren't open before, so we've got some more shops, I would say. The park's open, so it's nice actually.
Yeah, I do. I miss the hustle and bustle. So I like it better when it's busy. I love hearing lots of tourists around discovering York, and so that's different and sad because it doesn't feel like it's normal.
Do you feel safe in York this afternoon?
There's not as many people around as before, though.
How safe do you feel in the city today?
I feel safe.
Yeah, just the same as usual, really. It's nice that it isn't as busy because obviously you can social distance a bit easier, which is good. Normally, when we'd go to the Shambles Market, it would be very busy. I don't know. In the first lockdown, we got a bit stressed, didn't we? Because it was so busy. But today it was much better, and that made us feel a bit more comfortable, didn't it?
Most people are sensible, aren't they? Keeping a distance, putting masks on when you go in shops. It's not difficult, is it?
What is your honest opinion on the lockdown situation? Do you think it's right?
It depends if we can believe the figures or not, because at the same time as they're putting the lockdown on, they're now saying that the figures are not as high as they were.
Do you feel that the lockdown is the right idea?
I think so, given the evidence that we've seen. I think.
And I saw a post on Instagram, Twitter the other day, said York's still open for business. You know, it shouldn't be open for business. There shouldn't be this many people wandering around. You know, there shouldn't be as many things open as there is. I think, if anything, if we're going to do a 4-week lockdown, it should be a strict 4-week lockdown. And let's get this done.
It's what we need to do, isn't it? To protect the NHS. So I'm happy to continue to do it, really. If that's what we need to do, it's the best thing to do, isn't it?
Do you think it's the right decision?
I think based on the evidence we're getting from the scientists, is yeah.
There's more people dying, there's more people getting the disease. I'm not a scientist, so I'm just hoping that, you know, the scientists are giving us the right information. And
Last time I walked around it off at the last lockdown, I said it was lovely because it was like dead.
I think every time anyone goes past their front door, there's some risk to be taken, but you can't just sit in your house. And so within the restrictions that are given, we don't push on those guidelines, but we live as fully as we can within the guidelines.
Well, I've got a shop in York, so this is the second time round I've had to close down. So she feels a little bit harder this time because clearly people are still out and about, and it feels that small businesses are being targeted.
So what do you intend doing to fill your time in the next month then, as a family? Or
Well, we'll be working, won't we?
Yeah, working. School.
You'll be doing school.
What else will we be doing, do you think?
I don't know.
Well,
Going out into the countryside.
yeah, going out for long walks.
is some of the work and the schooling being done in a different way to how it would normally do, like some online element, or?
Well, how's the school's been online for you this week, hasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's. I didn't really enjoy it too much.
Yeah, I think that the government are advising people that when outside and socially distancing, it's best done with scones, cream and Prosecco. I hope you have a wonderful birthday and a wonderful rest of the day.